What if everything you've been told about your eyes is a lie? Not just the myths about personality, but even the science. What if your eye color could change, fade, or shift, and that tiny shift could alter the way people treat you, fall in love with you, or even fear you, without you ever noticing? And yet every day, your feed is full of posts claiming to decode your soul from the color of your irises. Blue eyes mean you're a seeker. Brown eyes, a guardian. Green, an alchemist. It's a captivating idea, isn't it? The thought that this simple feature isn't just a random roll of the genetic dice, but some kind of spiritual code, a message your soul chose before you were even born. But what did Carl Jung, the man whose ideas supposedly inspired all this, actually say about who we are? Have you ever felt that subtle disconnect from your true self and wondered if the answer could be this simple? Today, we're exploring the magnetic link between eye color and Jungian psychology. But we're going to do what the viral posts don't. Separate the pop psychology from the profound truth. We'll look at what Jung genuinely dedicated his life to and how his actual work offers a far more powerful revelation than any personality test ever could. The answer is more revealing than you think, because it's not about what your eyes are, but what they do, and what the world has been telling you through them all along. If you're ready to tear past the comforting lies and get closer to the unsettling truth about who you really are, you're in the right place. This is for the deep divers, the ones who'd rather drown in real questions than float on easy answers. Here, we're not just exploring psychology, we're digging up the person you were before the world taught you to pretend. First, the basic question. Why is this idea so compelling? Why does the notion that our eye color holds a secret key to our identity resonate so deeply? Maybe it's because at some point we've all stared into the mirror a little too long, wondering if those tiny flecks of gold or that sudden shift of green meant something more. Maybe we've all felt that strange, unshakable sense that our eyes have been quietly telling a story long before we could speak. The answer touches the very core of what it means to be human, a territory Carl Jung mapped better than anyone. We are meaning-seeking creatures, hardwired for narrative. We live in a world that often feels chaotic and random. We're handed cold biological facts, a gene here, a trait there, but our souls are hungry for a story, a reason, something that makes us feel like we belong in a pattern far older than ourselves. This is where Jung's concept of the collective unconscious enters. Beneath our personal awareness lies a psychic system shared by all humanity, a reservoir of ancient images and patterns. Jung called the core contents of this layer the archetypes. Think of them as universal blueprints, the hero, the sage, the trickster, the shadow. They're not just storybook characters, they're living currents inside us, shaping the way we love, fight, dream, and destroy. For Jung, the path to a full life was individuation, the lifelong process of becoming aware of these forces and integrating them into a whole self. So when a post suggests your blue eyes make you a seeker, it's not just a cute idea. It's pulling directly on this deep, ancient wiring. It offers a bridge between the cold fact of your iris and the warm, breathing world of myth. It whispers, you are not random. You are part of an ancient story. And your mission? It's hidden in plain sight, staring back at you every morning. That's the beauty and the danger of ideas like this. They give us a simple answer to a question that's anything but simple. And if we're willing to look closer, we might discover that the real story is far more thrilling and far less comforting. All right, let's suspend disbelief. Let's journey through the popular spiritual interpretations that have captured the modern imagination. Think of this not as scientific fact, but as modern folklore, a language people are using to make sense of their place in the universe. Brown eyes, the guardian, the earth keeper, the anchor. The story goes that souls with brown eyes are the anchors of humanity. Their mission isn't loud or flashy, it's foundational. This archetype represents stability, grounding, and presence. Brown-eyed people are painted as the stabilizing forces others seek out when their worlds fall apart. Fascinating side note. Over 70% of the world has brown eyes. Maybe that's why we associate them with stability. Statistically, they're literally everywhere. Ancient warriors with dark eyes were often feared in battle, as darker irises were believed to absorb more sun power and give the bearer strength. The shadow side. The guardian becomes so busy being the rock for everyone else that they forget they also need support, carrying the world's weight on their shoulders. Sometimes, even a mountain needs a break from holding up the sky. Blue eyes, the seeker, the mystic, the truth seer. There's a perceived intensity to blue eyes. In this modern language, these are the seekers, the souls scanning the horizon for something the rest of us can't see. The myth is that blue-eyed people pierce through illusions and sense untruths. Their mission is one of clarity. They are rarely satisfied by conventional answers. Here's a strange fact. All blue-eyed people share a single common ancestor who lived about 6,000 to 10,000 years ago. In other words, if you have blue eyes, you're part of an ancient genetic club, exclusive, but with no membership perks except, apparently, piercing stares. The shadow for the seeker is isolation. Their intensity can make the superficial world feel alienating. Their journey is to learn to ground their visions in earthly compassion, because visions alone don't change the world unless you invite others into them. Green eyes, the alchemist, the catalyst, the magician. Appearing in only about 2% of the population, the rarity of green eyes is key to their archetype. These souls are the alchemists. Green is the color of life and transformation, a symbolic fusion of blue's clarity and yellow's energy. Green-eyed people are seen as natural agents of change, whose presence can accelerate transformation in others. Historically speaking, in medieval Europe, green eyes were often linked to witches, not because they had magic, but because rarity and mystery scare the unimaginative. In some cultures, green eyes were said to be able to see between worlds. Their path is about turning chaos into art and crisis into opportunity. The shadow? Instability. Living between worlds, they risk getting lost in their own constant reinvention. Alchemy is powerful, but even gold needs a steady hand at the forge. Hazel eyes, the shapeshifter, the chameleon, the mirror. Hazel eyes shift in the light, brown one moment, green the next. This mutability is their symbolic meaning. In this lexicon, hazel eyes align with the shapeshifter. These souls are seen as adaptable, intuitive, and able to move through different social circles with ease. Their purpose is to act as a mirror, reflecting someone's potential back to them. Fun fact, hazel eyes actually contain a mix of melanin patterns, which causes them to change appearance depending on lighting and clothing colors, meaning they're a walking optical illusion. No wonder people think they can blend in anywhere. The shadow is a loss of self. In constantly adapting, they risk forgetting who they are at their core, becoming a mirror that reflects everyone but themselves. Gray eyes, the sage, the observer, the judge. Gray is the color of neutrality and stone. As one of the rarest eye colors, Those with gray eyes are often cast as the sage or the wise judge. There is a quality of stillness associated with them. These souls are painted as highly analytical, able to see situations without being swept away by emotion. Scientific curiosity. Gray eyes are not truly gray. They are usually blue with a higher density of collagen in the stroma, scattering light differently. In short, your eyes aren't actually gray. They're just very fancy blue eyes pretending to be mysterious. Their mission isn't to participate in the drama, but to witness it and reflect truth with impartial wisdom. The shadow is detachment curdling into isolation, lost in their minds, forgetting to live in their hearts. Black, very dark brown eyes, the shadow worker, the depth dweller, the watcher. While no human eye is truly black, these eyes hold a unique place. Symbolically, black represents the void, the mystery, the unconscious itself. Souls with these eyes are the shadow workers, connected to what society fears. Their mission is to walk comfortably in the dark and bring hidden truths into the light. Unexpected twist. In low light, very dark brown eyes can appear almost fully black, which might explain why some ancient cultures believed such people could absorb evil or danger. In martial folklore, they were the watchers at the gates, keeping the monsters outside, or, depending on the story, inside. The shadow side is being consumed by the very darkness they explore, feeling profoundly alienated. Not every shadow wants to be illuminated, and sometimes it fights back. And now we ask the question hanging over all of this: what did Carl Jung have to say about it? We've just explored a rich and fascinating mythology, a system that connects our biology to our soul's purpose. Now we arrive at the critical juncture. You'd assume Jung's collected works must be filled with chapters on the ocular psyche, right? Here's the truth, and it might be jarring. There is absolutely no evidence that Carl Jung ever created such a system. A search of his texts, his seminars, and his letters reveals nothing. The entire framework, as compelling as it is a modern invention, a mashup of New Age thought with Jungian terms. The posts attributing this system to him are, to put it politely, wrong. So was Jung silent on the eyes? Far from it. But his focus was profoundly different. For Jung, the importance of the eyes was not in their static color, but in their dynamic function, the act of seeing. He used the eye as a metaphor for consciousness itself, the inner eye that sees our own internal world. He was also deeply interested in the symbolism of the eye as it appeared in myths and dreams. Think of the Eye of Horus, or the third eye. For Jung, these weren't about physical eyes, they were archetypal symbols of a higher unified consciousness, the wholeness one could achieve through individuation. So, to be clear, Jung did not create an eye color personality system. His work was infinitely more subtle. Does this mean we throw everything out, that the magic is gone? Absolutely not. In fact, it's here, at this turning point, that we find the real Jungian magic. And it's more personal than any color-coded chart of destiny. Now we get to the heart of it. It would be easy to stop here and just say, the viral theories are wrong. But that misses the deeper truth. The real Jungian insight isn't that your eye color determines your personality, but that the cultural beliefs about your eye color have powerfully shaped it. This happens through three key Jungian concepts: the persona, projection, and the shadow. The persona is our social mask, the face we present to the world to fit in. It's shaped by expectations, by what we're praised for. This brings us to projection. This is when we unconsciously take our own assumptions or cultural narratives and attribute them to someone else. When someone looks at a person with deep brown eyes and immediately feels a sense of safety, they are projecting the guardian archetype onto them. When they see icy blue eyes and assume the person is cold, they are projecting the sage. Your eye color is a perfect involuntary hook for these projections. You've been on the receiving end of them your entire life. Now let's connect this back to the persona. Imagine you're a child with brown eyes and you're constantly told, "You have such kind, honest eyes." You're praised for being dependable. What happens? You begin to internalize it. You might just build your persona around being the guardian because that's the role that gets you approval. This leads us to the most important concept, the shadow. The shadow is the part of us made of everything we repress, our weaknesses, our instincts, our desires. It's the opposite of the persona. If you've spent your life building a guardian persona, being reliable and selfless, what gets pushed into your shadow? Your capacity for anger, your desire to be irresponsible, your need to put yourself first. If you've built a seeker persona from your blue eyes, being intellectual and detached, what gets shoved into your shadow? Your vulnerability, your deep need for connection, your capacity for simple, unanalyzed joy. Do you see the real magic now? The popular eye color theories feel true because they are describing the very personas and projections that have shaped our lives. They aren't a diagnosis of your soul. They are a description of the social box the world put you in because of your eye color. The true Jungian path of individuation is not to accept that label. It is to become conscious of the persona you've built, and then do the brave work of reclaiming your shadow. This is infinitely more powerful. It means you are not defined by a color. The story the world told you about your eyes is the starting point of your liberation. We started our journey in the mystical corners of the internet, where eye color is a cosmic fingerprint. We explored the guardian, the seeker, the alchemist. Then we turned to the reality of Carl Jung's work and found he left no such system. But in that contradiction, we found a deeper truth. The real magic isn't in what your eye color is, but in what the world projects onto it. We discovered how these cultural myths shape our social mask, our persona, and force the unlived parts of ourselves into the shadow. The ultimate revelation is this: the meaning of your eye color is not a destiny written for you. It is an invitation to write your own. The popular theories give us a perfect map of the expectations placed upon us, and in seeing that map, we are handed the power to chart a new course. The goal isn't to become the archetype of your eye color, but to become whole, integrating the persona and the shadow, the light and the dark. The power is not in the pigment of your iris. The power is in the consciousness that looks through it. Now I'm genuinely curious. Having explored the myth and the psychology, what's your story? What's your eye color? And what has the world projected onto you because of it? Share your experience in the comments. Let's create a space for real self-discovery. And if this journey resonated, share this video with someone ready to see themselves and the world in a new light. Thank you for looking deeper with me today.